got so motherfucking design on right now. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. I got 3 old thoughts to walk.
All right, well, let's talk to the defendants that we do have. Rita Henline is here and Mary Bussard is here. We are missing our 120 case, which is Ms. Johnson. But I will take them and advise the tenants that we have of their rights under the landlord tenant statute. At any rate, you are here on a landlord tenant matter. In each case, it is a demand for payment of rent. No, Ms. Bussard is a termination of tenancy. They simply want you to move. As such, you have certain legal rights. No.
I gave it back to you.
Is it in my tray?
I'll go look.
Might have gotten misplaced. At any rate, while we're looking for Ms. Henline's file, you have a right to have legal counsel. If you can hire one, if you can't afford to pay for one, you may ask for assistance from legal aid, and our representative from legal aid, Megan Bauer, is here with us today. You have a right to have the case heard here in St. Joseph County where the property is located. You have a right to demand a jury trial. That has yet to happen in my tenure as judge, but it might. If you do demand a jury trial, you have to tell me at this first initial hearing or file the written demand within 5 days and be prepared to pay the jury demand fee of $50 unless the judge waives it. If your landlord has asked you to be evicted from your residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, local coordinated entry agency, a housing assessment and resource agency, that's Neighborhoods Inc., or if you're a veteran, possibly Veterans Benefit Assistance. You do not need a judgment against you to receive the help from the places listed above. Copy of the summons and complaint in your case are sufficient, allegedly. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through mediation if both parties are interested. The court can help set that up. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord. That means the case would get dismissed. All right, I'll keep looking for it. And if that happens, we would file or assist you in filing what's called a conditional order of dismissal. All right, let's talk to Rita Henline. If I could find her file. Ms. Henline went through this last year. This is filed as a demand for non-payment of rent. Ms. Henline called with some concern that she wouldn't be able to get here, and I urged to have her try to Zoom in like she did before, and she was able to do that, so I'm glad that she's here. But I've misplaced her file.
That's frustrating.
Here it is. I found it. All right, this is one of the main things we were discussing at the seminar, whether you could file a non-payment of rent rather than a just cause termination when the person owns the trailer and the company owns the lot. Judge Murphy in Livingston County opined that you cannot. At any rate, other judges have different views of it. So this is filed as a non-payment of rent case when Ms. Henline owns the mobile home and Meadow Lane owns the lot. There is another way to do this, Ms. Henline. It's called a just cause termination. And then there's no option but to move. And as a practical matter, it's very hard because mobile homes are really not very mobile. But Mr. LeBray, what's the status here?
Well, there's been a lot of non-payment, Your Honor. The total amount that the plaintiff alleges to be due, which would include the additional 2 months of lot rent, $50 a month late fees, sewer and water fees, attorney's fees, filing fees, service of process, the
Well,
whole
all right,
thing.
take the costs out first. Just tell me what, rent, late fees and sewer and water.
$1,269.33.
That's through 6/2/6/2/6/9/33.
That's through the August rent. That's a current number.
Lot rent, water and sewer, and that is expensive in Three Rivers. And late fees. This happened before, Ms. Headline. You were very far behind in your rent and they somehow made it work. It almost feels like you haven't paid any rent since then. What's the status here? No, let me unmute your microphone. All right, go ahead.
It started back in 2024 when we made these arrangements. And I didn't have any cash then. I had started working for a different company and I had to sell my van to pay the first $1,500, which I did. And then in May, I was finally paid for the month of April from this company, and I was able to pay the next $1,500. After that, I never got paid again from this company. When DeMarcus turned 21, of course, his waiver changed, and he had to go through Summit Point, which I don't know if you're familiar with them. In Battle Creek, they're a mental health facility that a company that will pay his nursing, would pay his nursing fees. And the company is loaded with many different people, and you never get to talk to the same person twice. I gave them everything they needed. It was very difficult for me because they never taught me how to bill until April, about the 25th of April. And so at that time, that's when I got my first check from them, not until May.
Let me ask this, Mr. LeBray, if you can tell me, when was rent last paid on this lot?
And you need a file? Can I give you this? I have Lois Holloway. She is the regional manager and she has those kinds of numbers. So if you can wait just a second, she'll check.
I read through those payments and I don't understand any of it.
24, Your Honor.
When? When was rent last paid?
5/17/24.
No payment has been made since then?
No. And when I got involved with social services.
Just a minute, I didn't ask you anything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I will in a minute. And that was my fear, because this is about a year's worth of unpaid lot rent. Are they correct? You haven't paid any rent in more than a year?
That's correct.
All right. You are, again, in dire straits, like we were last time. You're very close to them. Now, there's still an issue that I haven't made a ruling on it, about whether you can even do this. But let's assume that you can, and I can order that you pay the rent. If you don't pay the rent, they can force you out of your mobile home. And then remove the mobile home from your lot. And we were close to that. You had to know this was coming. You haven't paid any rent. You were a year or more behind, 2 years behind last time, and you got caught up, and now you've paid no rent since last May, and I don't need to know the reasons for it. They don't want to continue this. You've lived in this home for 40 years or more, but you can't just continue to stay there without paying rent. And it's worse than that. you don't pay the utilities and the park has to pay your sewer and water bill. So do you have any plan of approaching this?
Well, yeah, I was trying to explain that to you. Social services could not help me because they did not send me a legal notice to quit. They just sent me little copies that they hadn't written. And the state wouldn't look at it because it was not a filed notice to quit. It was just a copy, and they couldn't help me.
I have one right here filed June 5th. No, that's in the Johnson case. Let me look in yours. Yeah, yours was filed June 11th.
This year.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what I was waiting for. I've also had no satellite or no internet trying to get through to the state again, and I didn't have a phone either. Yes, I'm struggling. I have COPD, and I'm just dying. Period.
Well, we had this discussion last time around, and I don't really like the outcome, but you can't expect to. Now, there's an advantage to filing it this way, whether you can do it lawfully or not. Mr. Duck and I have had this discussion. Meg Bauer's been on it several times. If they file it as a demand for non-payment of rent, you may be able to get emergency housing assistance and you can redeem it. So if you pay $6,000, you get to stay. If they file it as a just cause termination, alleging there are 3 late payments in a 12-month period, there's no option. They just seek termination of the tenancy. You would have 10 days to move and 90 days to sell or remove the mobile home. So the way they filed it, and this happened a lot during COVID, when there was emergency funding available, I allowed these to go through and people got their rent paid. But anyway, the law requires that I adjourn this matter at least 7 days. But next Monday is Labor Day and we won't be here. So you're going to be another month behind in the rent, and we're going to go to September 8th at 2:10. Does that work for you, Mr. LeBray?
I'll make it work, Your Honor. That was September
8th at 2:10. Mr. LeBray, I will send that opinion that I just received. I'll redact some of it, but I'll send you that and you can review it. But I've been inclined to allow these, whether the law allows it or not. And as I said, there's a substantial debate. I've got a couple of very learned briefs, one from the Aaron Cox law firm and one from another law firm, that argue that this is allowable. We had a very vigorous discussion of this just last Wednesday at the judges conference. Anyway, what this means for you, Ms. Henline, is 10 days from September 8th, they got to kick you out of your house.
Mhm.
Well, actually, they can not. They can remove your mobile home from the lot. They can't touch any of your personal possessions. The mobile home is yours. They could hire a company to come in and remove the mobile home. It's been there 45 years, and I don't think it's very mobile.
No, you can't move it.
No, so, but again, you can't expect to just stay there without paying any rent. And so I don't know. Ms. Bauer, you have any thought on this?
Judge, I think you hit the nail on the head that they can move the home. The plaintiff, the relief it is requesting is the right to remove the home from the lot. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Were you asking for my input on the law or on consulting with Ms. Henley?
Consulting with whether there's any benefit of you consulting with this client.
Sorry, I was focused on the legal element there.
Well, as I said, you and
Um,
I have discussed this a number of times here on the record and maybe even off the record, but
I'm always
I-
happy to consult with folks, Judge. Sorry, I didn't mean
all
to
right.
cut you.
Well, no offense taken. Ms. Henline, I'm going to put you in a breakout room. You don't need legal advice so much. You need money. And you don't have any money. And they don't wish to keep paying your sewer and water bill. And
They're not.
they're not. So, well, at some point,
Well, you know,
well,
this,
in a just cause termination, Mr. LeBray, you have the authority to shut the utilities off. In a non-payment of rent, you don't. You have to continue to provide the services. But we're considerably behind schedule right now. But I'm going to, Ms. Henline, I'm going to let you speak privately with the attorney from Legal Aid, Megan Bauer, and Mr. LeBray and I will move on to the next case.
If I
Can I
may
say-
add one factor, Your Honor, I checked with the local property manager at Meadow Lane, and she advises, who's here today, and she advises me that the sewer and water, at least to the best of her knowledge, has not been turned off.
oh,
Okay, I didn't
yes,
think
it
it was.
is.
I mean, we didn't have anything to do with it, and we're not
All right.
aware that it did.
So, Ms. Henline, the sewer and water is turned off?
Yes, it's been turned off. And I was concerned too about, we have a new company that owns it now. And they're doing things totally different.
Well, you're going to get condemned. The city's going to kind of condemn your house. You can't live there with no sewer and water.
Well, they've
And
been shutting it off for quite a while. And
it's not they, it's the city of Three Rivers.
no,
But
no, it's
the
not.
landlord is doing it?
Yes, absolutely. And
Well,
the
that
thing is, this manager or whoever, is this not, this person is not supposedly at the office. This person is like, lives in the park. And they have been, I have so many disconnect
All right,
notices.
Ms. Henline, those are all red herrings. You're not paying your rent and you haven't paid it for a year. So any of those things are side issues, but they can't turn your sewer and water off. But
No, they
I'll let
didn't.
you discuss this with the attorney and we've got other matters to address. So I'll assign you to the breakout room.
Okay.
And we are behind. I think we're going to have a default here in a minute. But
I don't think
there's Ms. Bauer.
we show up.
There you are. All right, assigned to room 1.
Probably
You should be able to log into it.
start telling.
All right, I've got others. Rita, hit the button that says join.
Okay.
Is it open, Meg?
Yep.
All right, I've got more to do here.